A new Grand Prix year starts at the Buenos Aires Autodrome in typically fierce heat, with prospects of 1980 being one of the most hotly contested seasons ever in the long history of the Formula One World Championship. After a frantically busy, all too short 3 months of winter development, it's a very different scene at the Circuit Almirante Brown, for every team's got brand new or updated cars, and there's been a major shuffle of drivers. So, with 16 races to go, the 1980 World Championship's wide open. But 5 men from 3 teams in today's Argentine Grand Prix must especially fancy their chances. In the new T5 Ferrari, the reigning world champion Jody Scheckter and his teammate Gilles Villeneuve, who between them won 5 Grand Prix last year. In the Saudi Leyland Williams cars, Alan Jones, 4 times a winner in 1979, and his new ex-Brabham Ferrari and Lotus teammate, Argentinian Carlos Reutemann. And in only his second full year of Formula One, Brazilian Nelson Piquet, new team leader for Brabham in the new Cosworth-powered BT48. But after 2 days of practice, the shape of 1980 is clearer. For there, in pole position of the staggered starting grid, it's Alan Jones. Second fastest, Jacques Lafitte, Ligier. Third, Pironi, Ligier. Fourth, Piquet, Brabham. Fifth, De Angelis, Lotus. Sixth, Andretti, Lotus. And in 11th position, Jody Scheckter, the world champion.
Well, BA is a truly heartwarming place for the circus to start their season. They come out of the misery of a European winter and move down to the blasting heat of the South American summer. And the circuit is one of the nicest that they race on all season. It's varied, it's got nice fast sections, it's got a twisty slow infield, it's got plenty of runoff area, which means there's plenty of room to make mistakes and have a bit of fun. And above all, it's one of the few circuits that has fast enough straights to make overtaking easy, which of course then has a tendency to give us a very exciting race.
53 laps, and in the background, René Arnoux in the Renault goes into the pits, so he is not going to start with the rest of them in this long race of what's going to be attrition. When the green lights come on, away will go Alan Jones, and he does so. Jacques Lafitte alongside him, Pironi behind. Villeneuve coming through, and Piquet is in 4th position. Andretti is 5th alongside Villeneuve as they go round the right-hander, then into the left-hander, which leads to the long 5th gear straight, the fastest part of the course, which leads into the 5th gear curve on, and it's Alan Jones leading the 2 Ligiers. Jacques Lafitte, who won this race last year, is in 2nd place. Didier Pironi, who left the Candy Tyrrell team at the end of last year, and Arnoux is in the pits still. He came into the pits, he's yet to start the race, and Nelson Piquet on the left in the white and blue Brabham, a new colour scheme, is in 4th position. Alan Jones in the Saudi Williams, 4 wins last year, leads. The Ligiers are together with Piquet alongside them, and Piquet challenges. He goes past Pironi, he's up alongside Lafitte. Jones leads. Lafitte is in 2nd place. And
Villeneuve just went off. Villeneuve had moved up to 5th place or thereabouts from his relatively lowly grid position. Made a great start, but he's overcooked it. I'm afraid he started his 1980 season very much as he left off. There it is on the replay. Villeneuve just on the left hand of the picture going up.
But already Alan Jones is building up a cushion between himself and the new 2nd place man, which is Nelson Piquet, who has only got 1 full season of Grand Prix driving behind him. Today in the new Cosworth-powered BT48, which made its debut at Canada at the end of last year, Jones leads, Piquet 2nd, Lafitte 3rd, then Andretti is in 4th position, and behind him the rest of them go streaming through. Lap 1, and there are 53 laps in this long race. Jones, Piquet, Lafitte, Andretti. Reutemann is in 5th place, and Pironi is in 6th place as they complete the first lap.
Well, Reutemann made a great start. He's moved up from a difficult-ish grid position. He had trouble with his car in practice on Friday when the track was at its quickest, but he certainly made up for it for his home Grand Prix. Villeneuve, I noticed, has recovered. He had a little excursion there, but he's right back on the track. He's well down the field, running in about 15th place or thereabouts. I expect to see him storming through the field and really tigering.
Lap 2, and Jody Scheckter is up into 6th place. So the 2 Ferraris, the world champion and the man who finished 2nd last year in the championship, Villeneuve, are both in the first 6 places. The leader coming down the fast straight towards us, Alan Jones, followed by Piquet in the Brabham BT48, then Jacques Lafitte, Reutemann, is up into 4th position now. So the two Saudia Leyland cars are well up.
You'll notice, Murray, that down the main straight there, we've just come down. You'll see all the cars snaking about all over the place. This is the chance that I was talking about earlier for overtaking to happen. The cars get a good tow. There's a long straight before, then a big flat-out loop at the top, and they come down that, and they can move about. The car behind gets a good run, and of course they're concertinaing up, and they can really jockey for position, which is something that we see at all too few circuits these days.
Jean-Pierre Jarier in the Candy Tyrrell into the pits, and it looks as though his race is run already on lap 2 as Alan Jones in the Saudia Leyland car comes towards us. Piquet close up behind it. There is the second place man. 3rd is Lafitte. 4th is Reutemann. Look at the gap. Mario Andretti in 5th place. Jody Scheckter and then Patrese. Riccardo Patrese in 7th place in the new A3 Arrows. Brand new car after that. And that's René Arnoux. Wheel off. Offside wheel off the Renault. René Arnoux and Mario Andretti into the pits. The 1978 world champion in the new Essex Lotus 81. Obviously in trouble. But on lap 6, Alan Jones now has a clear lead. And coming, that's Jacques Lafitte. Jacques Lafitte is going to take Nelson Piquet and second place, and he's done it. Lafitte, who won last year in the Ligier, and that's Pironi, Lafitte's teammate, out of the race, as the Frenchman from Paris, Jacques Lafitte, who won last year and at Brazil, has now moved ahead of Nelson Piquet. So it's Alan Jones leading, Jacques Lafitte in second place, Nelson Piquet in 3rd position, and Carlos Reutemann. And this is the battle for second between these 3 cars, and Piquet comes out of Lafitte's slipstream alongside him and retakes second position, and Carlos Reutemann tries to take Lafitte and fails. So tremendously close stuff for second position.
It seems to me that the Brabham is the quicker of those 3 cars in a straight line. Piquet made a mistake in the infield on the previous lap, and Lafitte grabbed his chance and got past. I think Lafitte and Reutemann are both quicker on their own, but they got back onto the quick part of the circuit, and the superiority of the Brabham in a straight line was then evident as Piquet grabbed his position back again.
Jochen Maas into the pits, and there is Lafitte. He's going to try and take second place away from Piquet, and he's done it. Jacques Lafitte's got the line, and he goes through into second place. Piquet nearly loses it as the back of the car flips.
Well, this time Lafitte has done it at the beginning of the infield, which is the section where he now stands a chance to get away, and if he does everything right this lap, he should be able to get enough of a gap on Piquet to maintain that second place and not have Piquet come past him on the quick part with the tow.
And they're coming out already. That Jean-Pierre Jabouille's car in the background went into the pits. Both Renaults then are out of the race. And now Carlos Reutemann is catching Piquet. But look at this. This is Piquet in the Brabham. Behind him, Carlos Reutemann, the Argentinian, in the Saudia Leyland car.
Piquet's moving to the right to keep the inside line for the corner. Reutemann's not giving way. And Reutemann's locked his front wheels and gone straight on. That was very good defensive driving by Piquet. Reutemann was a little bit too committed there, and he couldn't get into the corner because Piquet was holding the inside line and blocking Reutemann's turning in point there.
And it's possible not only that Reutemann's lost time, which he undoubtedly has, but that he damaged his car going off the circuit, as Alan Jones now with a very comfortable lead early on in the race goes on, and Reutemann into the pits.
Yes, I should think, Murray, that he got grass or something in his radiators then, or maybe damaged a skirt. Yes, he's having the mechanics pull grass and stuff out of the radiators. The temperature of the car is always terribly critical in BA. The engines run very, very hot, and any sort of knuckle grass in the radiator. In fact, it's happened to me one year there. I blew a race by getting grass in the radiator and not stopping to have it cleaned, and my engine blew up as a result. Reutemann may or may not have caught his engine before it was damaged.
Jones leads. Lafitte is second. There is Alan Jones, number 27, catching Mario Andretti, who has, of course, been into the pits, and Alan Jones gaining on him to lap him. Lafitte is second. Piquet is third. Villeneuve is fourth in the Ferrari. World champion Jody Scheckter in fifth position, and Keke Rosberg in the Wolf is up into sixth position.
We've had a lot of problems during practice with the track breaking up. The track was resurfaced apparently about a month ago, following some breaking up problems when the Renault team were down testing before Christmas, and the new surface that they put on in places has not taken properly. It hasn't been weathered in properly. It's probably been a hot spell down there, and it's been breaking up, which makes it very slippery indeed, and there have been complaints. The drivers were having a big meeting about it. I gather there was a lot of argy-bargy about whether they should race or not. However, it makes conditions very tricky. For my money, it's the same for everybody, and there's no harm so long as there aren't chunks of rock being thrown at each other, which I gather is not a problem. And it's a real test of concentration and controlled driving when the conditions are this treacherous.
Lap 13, Jones, Lafitte, Piquet, Reutemann, Villeneuve, Scheckter and Rosberg in the Fittipaldi has gone down to 7th position. There is the leader, Alan Jones. 4 Grand Prix wins behind him last year, one in 1977, on his way, seemingly the way this race is going, to his 6th Grand Prix win. Alan Jones from Australia, tough, burly, doughty driver. He's got ahead now, a long gap. Look at the lead between himself and the battle for 2nd position, which is yet to appear. And Jones off the course, and Andretti goes through to repass him.
Well, it appeared then that he just seemed to lock the front wheels. He may have a problem with his car, but that is on a place where there's a lot of what we call the marbles on the track. You get a little bit offline, and all the bits that are broken up on the track have turned to gravel, and it is literally like driving on gravel. If you get on that gravel, you just have no grip at all, especially with those big fat tires. That may be what happened to Jones, but we'll have to see how he re-establishes himself.
It does not seem to be bothering him, because Alan Jones is going just as quickly now as he was before, and he's got the problem, of course, of again catching and trying to repass the 1978 world champion Mario Andretti in the Essex Lotus. There is Andretti completing another lap. Alan Jones behind him. Lafitte is still in 2nd place. Piquet 3rd, Reutemann 4th, Villeneuve 5th, and Jody Scheckter in the Ferrari in 6th position. Alan Jones.
Yeah, he looks healthy enough, Murray. He's caught right back up to Andretti, the amount that he lost just then. So I imagine he's done no damage to his car, unless, of course, he's hurt a skirt a little bit.
And Alan Jones surging up to Mario Andretti's rear wing and straight past.
Yeah, Andretti led him through there in the big loop. That's a good experienced driver, because Andretti's already been in the pits, letting the leader through properly without holding him up or getting in his way.
Alan Jones away then, a clear circuit in front of him, in the lead, and that's Carlos Reutemann, Alan Jones's teammate, sitting absolutely still in the car, obviously out of the race. He's turned it in, no time to have a conversation with him, and that's Gilles Villeneuve now up into 4th position, lapping Marc Surer, the Swiss driver in the ATS, his first drive in this car. Villeneuve, who won 3 Grand Prix in the Ferrari in 1979, and now he's closing up on Piquet. That's Nelson Piquet in the white and blue new colour scheme Brabham, number 5. As into the pits comes Alan Jones. This is the leader, frantically gesticulating. Has he got the same trouble as Carlos Reutemann? His car doesn't seem to be stopping. The wheels are still turning, but now they stop.
Well, that was an amazingly quick pit stop, man. I couldn't see exactly what they did. It did look as if they were diving at his radiators, and one can only assume that they've pulled out any muck that got stuck in there from his excursion.
Alan Jones rejoins in 4th place, just ahead of Jody Scheckter in 5th place. There's Scheckter in the Ferrari. Jones then down from 1st to 4th position. He's got in front of him the new race leader, Lafitte, Piquet and Villeneuve.
Well, if Jones has no further damage to his car, we've got a real race on our hands, Murray, because the Williams is still showing the superiority it showed last year. It's on full form here. He's got the speed to catch and pass the others, but he's going to have to work very hard, and he's going to have to do it with a lot of control, because the track is visibly getting very slippery. They're all tiptoeing around this particular little infield section here. That's not a good angle, but if we get another angle on that, we'll see just how slippery it is and how the cars are going very, very slowly indeed through that section, as if it was wet.
There, number 26, the new leader, Jacques Lafitte, who is closing up on Riccardo Zunino, who is the Argentinian driver and the teammate of Nelson Piquet. Lafitte, that's Piquet in 2nd place. Villeneuve in 3rd position. Mario Andretti has been lapped 26. The leader, Jacques Lafitte, in the revamped Ligier. All the cars in this race are either entirely new or very much revised. And that's the battle for 2nd position between Nelson Piquet. There's the leader, Lafitte. Behind him, Piquet, and behind Piquet, Gilles Villeneuve, lap 20 out of 53.
And Alan Jones just appeared in the picture at the back there in 4th place with Scheckter behind him, so we've got the first 5 cars covered by not much more than 10 seconds, and they're all closing up.
Indeed, a fine motor race to start the 1980 World Championship Grand Prix season. And barreling down the straight, see how fast. It's good 180 miles an hour, and they don't even lift off for the curve on, the double right-hander in 5th gear or 6th if you've got a 6-speed box. And there is Nelson, that's Zunino, who is about to be lapped by the second car, which is the race leader, Jacques Lafitte. Then behind him is Nelson Piquet. That's Piquet on the right, and on the left is Gilles Villeneuve in 4th position. So, Ligier leads Brabham, leads Ferrari.
The Ferrari now, you'll notice, seems to close up on the infield section and then lose out on the fast section of the circuit. We're now going into the infield.
And Jacques Lafitte is passing Zunino, who moves over and lets him through. Now, is Zunino similarly going to let his teammate Nelson Piquet and Gilles Villeneuve through? It looks like it because Zunino was moving over. There he goes. That's Lafitte away in the lead, building and a very despondent, depressed, dejected Carlos Reutemann, who wanted so much to do well in front of his home crowd, out of the first race that he's driven in the Saudi Leyland car. The battle for second position. Piquet and Villeneuve. And
Villeneuve's gone off. He's just made a little mistake at the S chicane there, but I don't think it's lost him any ground. He held the car nice and straight over the grass, but again, of course, he may have got a bit of grass in his radiators. Only time can tell. We see that. That's his second excursion. He's been off on the first half of that same place on the first lap of the race.
And that means that Nelson Piquet there in second position has been able to, that's Jones, and Nelson Piquet's been able to increase the gap over himself and the new third place man Villeneuve in the new Ferrari, number 2. Very low built car. It's different from last year's T4. This is the T5. Piquet goes through, Villeneuve goes through, and Jones right with Villeneuve. Alan Jones is fighting back. He's closed up to the battle for second between Villeneuve and Piquet. He's right now almost on the rear wing of Gilles Villeneuve.
Well, it's really the battle for the lead as well, Murray, because Lafitte is only 2 or possibly 3 seconds clear of them in the front, so we've got the 4 cars backing out, and they're all closing on Lafitte.
Look at this. The flat 12 Ferrari of the young French-Canadian Gilles Villeneuve. The V8 Cosworth-powered car of Alan Jones, and Jones is gaining on Villeneuve. The Saudi Leyland car is quicker than the Ferrari. He's right with Villeneuve, who is behind Piquet.
Yeah, Jones is getting the toe down the straight. He's going to pull out, and I reckon he's going to do Villeneuve now, but Villeneuve will fight for sure because he's the last man to give up in the situation. Jones is through on the braking, and Villeneuve's having a go back at him. Jones did it though.
But Jones holds the position. So Alan Jones upper place and now pulling away.
Yes, well, Villeneuve's return stab there cost him a bit of time. Here we have it in replay. You'll see that Jones gets through. Villeneuve makes a bit of a mess of it afterwards. It's cost him a bit of a gap, which gives Jones the cushions he needs. But Jones has wasted it. Look at the main picture. Jones has spun there. He got onto the marbles, and he's wasted it, which was a very stupid mistake, and most unlike Alan Jones, who's normally so steady. He knows it's slippery there, and Villeneuve, by his mistake, had given him enough room to take the pressure off, where he could have tiptoed round the tricky bits and set about building the lead later.
So Gilles Villeneuve up to third position, Alan Jones there down to fourth position, and now he's got the fight all over again. Alan Jones is really having a race of variables. He's led, and now he is down again to fourth position. There is Villeneuve passing Clay Regazzoni in the Unipart car, as Villeneuve now goes up alongside and past Clay Regazzoni. So Villeneuve third, Alan Jones, and there is Nelson Piquet through in second position. The race leader still Jacques Lafitte in the Ligier Cosworth car. Villeneuve and Jones is past Regazzoni. So the second and third men are about 20 lengths away from each other. Villeneuve on the right, and Jones in the Saudi Williams really challenging. Now he's got to pull back, and look, he is pulling back. You can see that the Saudi Leyland car is visibly gaining on the Ferrari. There is Piquet, behind him Villeneuve, behind him Alan Jones, then Clay Regazzoni, who has been lapped. Jones now right with the Ferrari. Soon he can start to challenge and try and take that place.
Yes, Villeneuve does have a serious tactical problem for the race here. As I was saying before, he's very quick through the... Oh, and Villeneuve's now made a mistake. Villeneuve's gone off at the S, and he's let Jones slip by, but I think he held it okay. Yes, he did. He's back on the track.
That's how hard they're pressing each other. Villeneuve makes a mistake. Alan Jones benefits from it, and he's really rolling the car very gently round that twisty section there, because that's where the track is breaking up. That's where he has had trouble, and that's where he intends to have no trouble again. And that's Emerson Fittipaldi, double ex-world champion, out of the race.
Yes, Villeneuve's tactical problem is simply that by being quick on the infield, which is the area which you can't overtake on the circuit, he's stuck, as Alan Jones having a go at Piquet now.
Alan Jones in third position, Piquet in second, Villeneuve behind them in fourth position, and Jones right now with Piquet, and Villeneuve just behind Alan Jones. Terrific stuff for second place. Young Nelson Piquet, in only his second full season of Grand Prix racing, is going to be taken, or is he, by Alan Jones.
See how they're tiptoeing through the slippery bit. Jones gets the power down better. Now Jones got out of the slippery bit there, and he's just slipped past him with better traction and of taking a better line, getting onto the grippy bit better than Piquet did, who under pressure went a little bit wide.
Half distance, lap 26 out of 53. Carlos Reutemann looking for a clear track to cross it, which he does, and go despondently back to the pits. And so, lap 26, Jacques Lafitte leads in the Ligier. There is Alan Jones second, Nelson Piquet third, the Ferrari of Villeneuve fourth, the Ferrari of Scheckter fifth, and Riccardo Patrese, the Italian driver in the Arrows, in sixth position.
There's so much excitement going on, I can't get out what Villeneuve's tactical problem is. I'll try again. Problem is that he's now slow on the fast part of the circuit, which is where all the overtaking happens. So that means on the infield where he's quick and picks up, he can't overtake. On the fast bit of the circuit, everybody swarms past him fairly easily, and of course he can't get past them. So he has got a bit of a problem, and he needs always to be passed just for the infield section and get away then.
Jacques Lafitte has a problem too, and there it is. Behind him, Alan Jones. Behind him, Piquet. Behind him, Villeneuve. And they are all, especially Alan Jones, gaining on the race leader, Jacques Lafitte. This is the battle for third. It's Piquet and Villeneuve, Brabham and Ferrari. And Villeneuve goes off, Piquet goes off, and Villeneuve gains on him. Now, he is going to be rattled, and yes, Villeneuve goes through.
No, Villeneuve's overdone it. Look, it's on the slippery bit. Piquet fought back. He forced Villeneuve to lock up. This is really too exciting for me. I can't handle this.
So, Jacques Lafitte is leading. Alan Jones is in second place.
Jones has gone wide. There we are, Jones on the slippery bit again. If you look carefully at the track, you'll notice that we got on the line, the surface looks a bit clean and shiny, and off it, it's very gritty and gravelly. There's the replay.
There is the leader, Jacques Lafitte. Second place, Alan Jones. Third place, Villeneuve. And 26, Jacques Lafitte in the Ligier Cosworth leads the Argentine Grand Prix of 1980, as he did in 1979, and in 1979 he won.
See, once again there, Villeneuve got the better traction, and he just slipped by Piquet coming out on... Piquet stuck on the marbles again, so now... And Piquet, in fact, has dropped right back, so I don't quite know what's happened to Piquet.
Well, look at Alan Jones, because Alan Jones is undoubtedly gaining on the flying Jacques Lafitte, number 26, the 36-year-old Frenchman from Plagny, some 11 years in racing. Villeneuve there in the new T5 Ferrari in third position, Jones ahead of him. Jones, who has gone from first down to fourth, up to third, back to fourth, and is now in second position, catching Jacques Lafitte. Villeneuve we are looking at in the Ferrari. This is the fastest part of the course. There is the leader, Jacques Lafitte. Now watch Alan Jones in the Saudi Leyland car.
Yes, Lafitte's days are beginning to look a bit numbered, because both Jones and Villeneuve are definitely quicker than him overall on the lap, and they've now got a clear run at him, and I don't think they're going to make much mistake this time. There you can see the track breaking up. If you look carefully at the stripes on the surface on the line where the two wheels have grooved the track, and all the you can see the dust and rubbish and marbles off the line, and if they put a wheel onto that, it's just like trying to go racing up your gravel drive.
The man walking in was Riccardo Patrese, who was in sixth place and is now out of the race. And this is the battle for the lead. Alan Jones big in the mirrors of Jacques Lafitte's Ligier. Jones must feel very confident, because although he has made mistakes, although he has been into the pits, he has come up from fourth to second place. Villeneuve just behind him. There's the Ferrari. That's the third place man. And here is Lafitte. and Jones again. And is this going to be the point where Alan Jones takes the lead, or is Lafitte going to hold it?
Well, Jones is going to try and tow past him on the big straight. They'll go past the pits now, start the new lap, go through the S, and Jones will be trying to get himself about maybe 6 or 7 car lengths behind Lafitte so that he can go up the straight, getting closer and closer with the help of the tow, go through the loop without falling all over the top of Lafitte, and then tow past him down the return half of the main straight into the infield section and try and get away there.
Marc Surer, the Swiss driver, his first drive in the ATS out of the Argentine Grand Prix, but all eyes, and there are several 100,000 people watching this, Lafitte and Jones.
Yes, Jones was in the perfect position. He started about 6 or 7 lengths behind Lafitte. He's towed closer and closer. They've come out of the loop, and now he's got the run up, and he will for sure sweep past Jacques Lafitte on the straight now. There he goes, pulled out, and it's all easy for him because he got his judgment just right in the starting place on the straight.
And watch the way the cars are bouncing on the suspension as they go down the straight. That's because the ground effects, the skirts on the side of the car, are breaking traction. The car goes up and then it regains the traction. It goes down again. And Alan Jones leads. Watch this again. Jones out of Lafitte's slipstream, taking the lead. And back again into first position, the place that he lost on the 17th lap. And now on lap 30, Alan Jones is on his way to his 6th Grand Prix victory if the car lasts. And Gilles Villeneuve, behind the blue and white Ligier, is challenging Jacques Lafitte for second position.
Yes, you see how quick Villeneuve is through the infield section. He's caught up a huge amount on Lafitte. He's challenging him hard, but he can't overtake here unless Lafitte makes a mistake. And Lafitte's been driving an extremely steady and clean race. He's really driving very well indeed, and he's not about to make a mistake, I don't think. Now you see we're coming out to the faster part of the circuit, and I suspect that when they get through the fast S, Lafitte will pull away a bit from Villeneuve, and Villeneuve will then be out of range for the overtaking.
Jacques Lafitte second, Villeneuve third, Piquet fourth, Scheckter fifth, and Keke Rosberg now in 6th position. The Ligier, there is the Saudi Leyland of Alan Jones.
Yes, here we come. You see through the fast 5th gear S there, Lafitte's pulled out a large amount, and quite frankly, Villeneuve is now too far behind him to pick up the tow. He won't be able to pass him this lap. This means Lafitte, he'll catch them all up in the infield. The same thing's going to happen, and this is the tactical problem that Villeneuve has got. And of course, Villeneuve is forceful enough without having a tactical problem like this. It's like red rag to a bull for somebody like Villeneuve.
Jones, Lafitte, Villeneuve, and Lafitte seems to be holding on to Alan Jones and out comes his hand. Lafitte's engine has blown. The Ligier is out and through into second position. The roadblock removed goes Gilles Villeneuve, and there is the French-Canadian Jacques Lafitte. Cruel luck, number 26, with smoke out of the back of the car, with the pressure cap blowing off from the tank. Great plume of steam. Jacques Lafitte, who did so well last year here and in Brazil, is out of the race. Jones leads, Villeneuve is in second place, and what a marvellous position for an interview, but I don't think they're going to get one.
Yes, Lafitte there looks like the classic overheating problem. Quite frankly, looked like a blown piston. There's a lot of steam coming out of the thing in the water system.
Clay Regazzoni into the pits in the Unipart Ensign for the second time this race, and it looks as though he is out of it. Alan Jones on his way. Now Villeneuve behind him. Can the French-Canadian do anything about it? It looks as though Alan Jones is now starting a full clear lap.
Yes, oh yes, and it looks as if we've got this caption, so I'll try and talk you round it. Follow the ball. It's a bit, I'm afraid the ball driver's a bit behind. That's Alan Jones going through the very fast S there. That's taken in 5th gear out of 6 if you've got it. He now accelerates into top gear and full speed up to between 175 and 180 miles an hour, where he goes into this loop here absolutely flat out. If his car's all right, he doesn't lift at all, but it's absolutely on the limit. He's doing, as I say, between 175 and 180. He's coming through the second half of the loop, and now he'll come back down. Yes, there he is, coming up the straight. I'm afraid the guy driving the ball on the loop down in Argentina there is a bit out of sync with Alan Jones' exact position, but you'll have to try and follow it your best. He comes down the long straight. This is where the overtaking takes place with a good tow, and he then breaks down for quite a fast 4th gear S, where we've got a lot of track braking from. There's the messiness on the track, a puff of smoke from Jones, which is a bit worrying for him. Through the S, now he goes up to the first gear hairpin, which again is a very slippery part. They've been tiptoeing through that into the first gear hairpin. The ball's in the right place at the moment. And now he goes through this very tricky bit where the track is really treacherous. It must be just like driving on a wet road because their lap times are reflecting it. The ball driver's got completely out of place. Ignore the ball. He's going still through this wiggly bit, coming into that final left-hander. The ball is now ahead of where Alan is. Out of the left-hander, down the straight. He's starting the straight, but the ball's just already gone. He's coming down. Now the ball is in a fast S, which is taken in fourth gear, about 110 miles an hour. Alan is now in that, to the left and the right, and then down into the final other first gear hairpin on the track. The ball's now got behind. Yes, and you'll see up on the clock in the right-hand corner of the screen, the lap time is running, and it's incredibly slow. Alan qualified, there it is, 1 minute 55.5. He qualified in 1 minute 44.1. It's over 11 seconds slower. On Friday morning, they did 1:42 round the track, and this can only reflect the terrible condition that the circuit's in, because that's very nearly a wet weather time. It's so slow.
And while we have been watching Alan Jones, so from an increasing distance behind has been Gilles Villeneuve in second place, because Alan Jones is pulling away in the lead. The car is going superbly. The revamped Saudi Leyland car, it looks the same as last year's car, but in fact it's very different. Patrick Head has built better aerodynamics into it, and now Alan Jones is gaining on Riccardo Zunino, the Argentinian driver in the Brabham BT48.
Oh, now there's a little close-up of the track breaking up, Murray. You'll see, look, there's a huge, great groove. The asphalt's broken up. Now, when it comes away, it gets ripped away from there by the big tires and all that grip. It breaks up into gravel-sized sort of particles, which then spread on the track, stick to the big tires, and when you get on that, the tires have no contact with the road at all, quite apart from all the problems of going through the ruts.
Alan Jones, there is Zunino ahead of him. Only Zunino's third Grand Prix. His first was in Canada last year when Niki Lauda retired so dramatically, and Zunino was fortuitously there to take his place. Then on to America, where he drove extremely well, and now in his third Grand Prix. Gilles Villeneuve in second place. The Ferrari going well. He's not all that far behind Alan Jones, who has now taken Zunino. Now Gilles Villeneuve has got to catch up with the Argentine driver, pass him before he can do anything, if indeed he can, about Alan Jones, who is in the lead. So, Villeneuve, T5 Ferrari, Zunino in front of him, Alan Jones leading. Over the rough part of the course they go to start another lap.
Yes, Gilles Villeneuve is still well up with Alan Jones. He's only about 3 or 4 seconds behind him, and if anything, his car is in very good shape, his tyres are in good shape, and with the reliability of the Ferrari, I would suggest that he stands a very good chance of being right there at the finish.
Villeneuve has pulled away from Nelson Piquet, who is in third position, but Piquet holding as we look at the replay of Villeneuve passing Zunino.
Yes, that's an example, Murray, of how not to do the courteous thing when being lapped. Zunino's inexperienced. It's his first Grand Prix, or his first or second Grand Prix. He instead of pulling to the right of the track and giving Villeneuve the line, he made him go on the tight line into the corner, which was not very courteous.
But Villeneuve tremendously quick as he comes out of the right-hander. Now you can see the difference in class because of the experience, because Villeneuve is got a full season, nearly 2 full seasons Formula One experience, compared with Zunino, who is only in his first full season. And Villeneuve pulling away, you can see that in the Ferrari from the Brabham BT48 as Villeneuve comes down into the slower infield towards the end of the lap, chasing very hard in Alan Jones. Chasing Alan Jones very hard indeed in the Ferrari. Coming now, lining it up for the flick through the left here, long left. Now underneath the warning lights here, there is Alan Jones in the lead. That is the gap between Alan Jones, the leader, and Villeneuve, who is trying very, very hard indeed as he comes up to the right-hand bend here. Lines it up, and he's off! He's off! Villeneuve off! Is he all right?
Well, that looked to me, Murray, as if it suggested something broke on the front of the car then, because the car never appeared to make any attempt at all to turn right. He went through the left-hand bit of the corner. When he went to turn right, it just went straight on, and that usually indicates a front-end failure. It didn't look like a mistake from Villeneuve. It was just too dead straight.
That is an incredible picture there, because you see how strong modern Grand Prix cars are. Villeneuve thwacked into the barrier and he's all right.
Yeah, we've got a replay here, Murray. Now look at the front wheels and see. Let's see if anything happens. Yes, the front wheels splay out there. Right, there's a definite front end failure, probably the left-hand front suspension, because both front wheels you can see just splayed out, and the car just went straight on with no steering.
Villeneuve has had a reputation for crashing, but that was no fault of his. Obviously some sort of suspension failure. Look at the front of the car as Villeneuve slowly gets out of it. Watch his knees come up now out of the car. You've seen it, and there's the damage. A very, very shattered Ferrari. And so that leaves Jody Scheckter, the world champion, in the race as Alan Jones goes on his way, now leading Nelson Piquet, who has moved up into second position. Jody Scheckter, the world champion, up to third. Keke Rosberg to fourth. Derek Daly, the Irish driver, in the Candy Tyrrell, in fifth place. And Bruno Giacomelli, the Italian, in the Alfa Romeo, in sixth position, and the last man to gain world championship points if the race finishes in the order that the drivers are in now, which seems unlikely from the way it's gone so far. Alan Jones leading. Tactics, do you think, James?
Well, now all effective opposition has been removed from Alan Jones. Piquet is still present, but not pressuring. I think he's about 20-25 seconds behind. Jones will have been signalled from his pit. He'll know that Villeneuve has gone, and all he will be doing now is nursing his car and concentrating very hard, not making a mistake. He'll be driving entirely defensively, just to nurse himself and the car to the finish line in one piece. He may be conscious of the fact that he's had a couple of spins. The engine has probably got hot, if it was a radiator that he was clearing when he made that pit stop. An incredible situation. He's had 2 spins and a pit stop, or one excursion, a spin and a pit stop, and he's out there leading the race, and it just shows the superiority of the Williams, because he was out there leading the race on merit by fighting his way back past everybody, which is a quite incredible performance, largely due to the superiority of the car.
Alan Jones, who until last year was very underestimated as a driver, from Palos Verdes in California and a home in Ealing, and he commutes between the two and all over the place. Ex-Can-Am champion, ex-Formula 3, Formula Atlantic, you name it, Alan's driven in it, and always extremely well. And now he is really underlining his superiority, because although he has been off twice, although he has been into the pits once, he has regained the lead in this very important race, because if he can win, as Clay Regazzoni comes in the Unipart Ensign again, if Alan Jones can win this race, it'll give him a tremendous psychological lift at the beginning of the season. And that is Jody Scheckter, who is up into third position in the Ferrari. He has driven an immaculate, reliable race. He is in the points, and it looks as though he's going to stay there, with Gilles Villeneuve out of the race. Scheckter, the world champion, in third position. Alan Jones up from fourth to first, the fastest lap so far in the race, just a whisker over 1 minute and 50 seconds, much slower than Jacques Lafitte's lap record last year, 1 minute 46.9, that is 124.9 miles an hour. And Alan Jones put up that fastest lap on the 5th lap in this 53 lap race, and he's got slower, of course, because the circuit has been breaking up, and he's had to take... And Scheckter! That is Jody Scheckter's car. It's blown, the engine has blown, and that is something you do not expect to see with Ferrari, who are famous for their reliability. So, Villeneuve out with a broken car, very much so, and now Jody Scheckter.
Yes, that's incredible to see 2 Ferraris out, both with mechanical failure. However, of course, it could be possible that Villeneuve had a couple of off-course excursions before, and he may well have damaged or weakened something on the front suspension, but that, with Scheckter, that's a straightforward engine blow-up. That could be nothing to do with him, and that is really a rare thing, 2 broken Ferraris.
And that is the unfortunate Patrick Depailler, who broke both his legs with a hang gliding accident last summer, lost his place in the Ligier team, went to Alfa Romeo, and is now out of the race. In with a bang is Keke Rosberg, number 21 in the Fittipaldi ex-Wolf car, who is now up into third position. The Finnish driver, Keke Rosberg, just ahead of Derek Daly in the Candy Tyrrell, who is well up in the points in fourth position. as Alan Jones starts the 53rd and last lap. Ultima Vuelta, the last lap for Alan Jones. He has only got 3.7 miles, less than that to go now, between himself and the checkered flag, which is going to be waved to him by that great Argentine driver, Juan Manuel Fangio, 5 times a world champion.
Well, Alan Jones certainly deserves his victory today on the strength of a lot of the bad luck he had last year, because he wasn't very lucky last year, and quite frankly this has been a very lucky victory for him indeed. He's normally a very, very reliable, very mistake-free driver. He's one of the guys who makes least mistakes of all in Grand Prix racing, and yet today he's really had a bit of a brainstorm by his standards. He's had a couple of excursions, both in non-pressure situations really, on the slippery bit, but he knew the track was slippery, he knew it was treacherous, and with that car superiority, it's no need to do that sort of thing. That's how you blow a race. He was lucky not to damage the car, get anything in his radiators, and but he has certainly demonstrated the huge superiority that that car enjoys at this particular moment, although of course things change very fast in Grand Prix racing, and he may need every point he can get now if somebody else comes along with a quicker car in due course.
Alan Jones down to the hairpin, the Horquilla, almost within sight of the checkered flag on the 53rd and last lap, and his 6th Grand Prix victory in his career. He won 1 for Shadow, 4 for Saudia Williams, and now it looks like 1 for Saudia Leyland in the first Grand Prix of 1980. A race out of which, as the fans cheer him home, remember, there's the checkered flag in the Williams pit, the Union Jack ready to greet him home, and he'll be delighted to see that, because out of this race has gone Villeneuve, Scheckter, Patrese, Reutemann, Lafitte, Andretti, Jabouille, Arnoux, Depailler and Pironi, but not Alan Jones. Fangio, the checkered flag, Alan Jones wins the first Grand Prix of 1980 in the Argentine, and a famous and a superb victory it is too.
Fine drive by Nelson Piquet, Murray, coming into second place. He did extremely well. He's made few mistakes on this very difficult day in difficult conditions, and of course very hard physically because it's very hot.
There is Nelson Piquet finishing, and in third position behind him will be Keke Rosberg in the Fittipaldi. There he is, Derek Daly, 3 points in the Candy Tyrrell. 2 fine points for Bruno Giacomelli in the Alfa Romeo, and a magnificent 1 point in his first Grand Prix ever, Alain Prost, the European Formula 3 champion. So, Alan Jones, the winner. There are still 15 Grand Prix. There is the burly Alan Jones in the hat with the gold leaf on it, with Gilles Villeneuve, with Nelson Piquet, on the way to the victory rostrum. And are we going to see more of this again this year? I suspect we are, because Alan Jones, one way and another, has dominated the Argentine Grand Prix. But in 2 weeks' time, it is the Brazilian Grand Prix. It'll be on BBC Two, and James Hunt and I hope you will join us.